What up, though? The Lions didn't make it to the Super Bowl, but I'm still repping, as you see. Still repping Detroit Lions. So it's been a minute since I did a Sunday segment. So it's a lot of things that changed. I'm gonna try to put this on my Money Tree Music Group podcast, but they done changed a lot of stuff. So this might make it to the podcast, it might not. But if it do make it to the podcast, a lot of our podcast was taken down because we was using music that was licensed. So I can only play my music or any other underground artist music. So if you got any music that you would like played on the Money Tree Music Group podcast, email us at moneytreemusicg@gmail.com. All right, so let's get into this Sunday segment, all right? Now, tonight's Sunday segment is entitled A Change is Going to Come, Part 1. All right? Now, I got this wrote on my iPad over here, so if you see me look to the side, that's why. I got my iPad set up right here, all right? So, everybody can agree that these are trying times that we are facing. A lot of people have lost their jobs, had to be on unemployment. Unemployment done ran out, and now they wondering, how am I going to pay my bills? Now, they got to rob Peter to pay Paul, as my mom used to say all the time. Now, I'm here to tell you today that God told me to tell you that a change is going to come. Now, my friend Trey, grandfather, Mr. Sears, God rest his soul, he used to always listen to this song by Sam Cooke. And I began to grow fond of the tune myself. It's actually one of my favorite songs. I love it. And Sam sang, it's been a long time coming, but I know a change is going to come. Oh, yes, it will. Those words right there are some powerful words, all right? It's a fact. Like, so we all go through trials and tribulations. We all have things that, we be like, oh my God, what's going on? What's going on? How can I get out of this situation? How can I stop all this turmoil, all these crazy things going on in my life? So I'm here to talk about Job today. All right. Now, if you're familiar with the Bible or you familiar with the story of Job, you might know where this is going. Now, God have a plan for everything. Everything. Every single thing. We think that we have plans, but God is the one who has a plan. And Job's suffering must surely have had a greater purpose than to just simply punish a good man, right? Because we can all agree that Job was a good man. Job's faith prevailed over his suffering. I'm going to say that again. Job's faith prevailed over his suffering. The book of Job points to a guy who was always acting with goodness and justice, right? Including the times when people are experiencing or causing pain. A person's suffering does not automatically mean that he or she is receiving divine punishment. All right. Instead, like Job, he didn't question God. God's goodness. He didn't say anything sinful to God. Instead, he accepted the fact that God sometimes allow us to suffer. I'm going to say that again. Sometimes God allows us to suffer. If suffering enter your life, trust that it can help you in the same way. Like, I took away 10 lessons about suffering reading the book of Job. All right. So this Sunday segment will be broken up into two parts. All right. So this is part 1 of A Change is Going to Come. I'm going to give you guys the first 5 lessons I learned from the book of Job on suffering. And then next month, when I do my other Sunday segment, I would do 6 through 10. Now, the first lesson I learned in the book of Job is we will be tempted. We all can agree that we've all been tempted to do something before, and sometimes we know that it's not the right thing to do, but the temptation overbears us, and we just do it, right? Now, Satan believed that Job was righteous because he had so many blessings. I'm feeling like Satan was low-key jealous of him, which he's jealous of all of us, all right? Now, he believed that Job was righteous because he had many blessings. So in other words, it's easy to say that people may love God more when you're just cruising on through life with not a problem in the world. And Satan was jealous of this. Now, upon hearing Satan's theory, God said, all right, man, I'm going to give you the power over Job. And then once he did that, the trials and the tribulations just start to flow. They just start to pour on like a broken levee, right? Now, Job was tempted to lash out at God, but he resisted. He was tempted to do it, but he didn't do it. Now, number two. That was the first thing, that we would be tempted. Number two, I learned that everything we have is a gift from God. If you spent your hard-earned work, excuse me, if you spent your hard-earned work money on something, it's still a gift from God. Whatever we have is a gift from God. When you wake up in the morning, it's a gift from God. When you eat food, it's a gift from God. When you take steps, it's a gift from God. When you breathe, it's a gift from God. When you get that promotion, it's a gift from God. When you get that new car, it's a gift from God. Everything is a gift from God. Now, after being informed that his sons and his daughters had perished in a great storm, Job, he tore off his cloak and he cut off his hair and he threw himself all on the ground. Now, I don't see nothing wrong with that if a father just lost his kids, right? Now, his response to this is what's remarkable and what makes Job special and why we all should be like Job. Now, he said, naked I come forth from my mother's womb, and naked I shall go back again. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. So he knew that his kids were a gift from God. He knew that by saying those words that he said. Now let me go back. Now he said, this is Job 121. He said, the Lord give and the Lord taketh away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. So even though he had lost his children, he was still giving praise to God. He recognized that everything that he had, even his children in his life, was a gift from God. So Job passed the first test with flying colors. We can't get too attached to material possessions or favorable circumstances. The Lord gives and the Lord takes away. Learning to accept this will bring you much peace. It will bring you much peace knowing that nothing really belongs to you. Nothing really belongs to me. Everything belongs to God. God gives us everything. Every single thing God gives us. The first thing he gave us was life. So everything in this life he continues to give us. Now the third lesson I learned is that God, and this might sound crazy, but you got to think about it. God allows suffering. God allows suffering. Sometimes you think, oh, I'm going through this, I'm going through that. God must not be with me. God is always with you. God allows suffering. Now, Satan's next plot was in Job 2:7. All right. Now, he wanted to afflict Job with severe boils from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. Now, if that wasn't bad enough, his own wife, she wasn't really supportive of it. She wasn't supporting Job. She was implying that these misfortunes were a punishment from some past wrongdoings that Job must have done. Now she urged her husband, curse God and die. Her words, not mine. But Job said, and I quote, we accept good things from God and should we not accept evil? I'm going to read that again. We accept good things from God and should not accept evil. Now that could be found in Job chapter 2, verse 10. Now amazingly, Job, he didn't question God's goodness or say anything sinful like his wife implied, like his wife wanted him to do. Instead, he accepted the fact that God sometimes allows us to suffer. He wasn't going to curse God's name because he knew, something's going on. God is allowing this to happen to me. He's seen the bigger picture. A lot of times we think of short-term goals. This is something that I learned in my work field. You can't always think about short-term goals for short-term results. You need to think long-term goals for long-term results. He accepted the fact that sometimes God, he just lets us suffer. Now, if suffering ever enters your life, and I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but it will, because it will. Everybody will suffer in some type of way. Trust that God is there with you. Trust in God just like Job did. He can help you no matter what it is that you're going through. God can help you. Now, the fourth lesson I learned is it's okay to cry out to God. It's okay. Cry out to God. It's okay to cry out to God. It's perfectly acceptable to cry out to the Lord when you're suffering. We're only human. It's human nature. We have emotions built up. Cry. The book of Psalms is filled with many such cries. Many such cries. Go ahead and tell him what's on your mind. He can take it. He God. He already know what's on your mind, but he needs you to let it out. You need you to let it out. One thing we don't want to do is hold in feelings, hold in emotions, and let it boil up. It's not good. I learned that it's best to cry and just let emotions out. I used to be the type of person that would let my emotions just boil up and don't say nothing and don't cry and hold in my feelings, you know what I'm saying? But I started to realize that this is not making me feel better. This is making me feel worse. So now, if I feel like crying or sometimes I even need to let out a scream, I do that. I let out a scream, I let out a cry. I'm not ashamed because I'm cleansing my soul. I'm cleansing my soul. I'm cleansing my soul. We can't let it build up. We can't let it build up. That's when you start being depressed. That's when you start having anxiety attacks, panic attacks. That's all that anger and animosity and sadness and loneliness all built up, and that's what it's supposed to be. Crying is a cleanse. That's exactly what it is. When them tears come out your eyes, you're cleansing your soul. Now, nobody around speak out loud whenever it is you want to get out. Nobody around. Well, wait. Let me go back. Nobody around speak out loud whatever it is you want to get out. Okay. God is always near. So what I'm saying is, I do it all the time. If you sitting by yourself, now it's only crazy if you having a conversation and you talking to yourself and then you're answering yourself, right? That's the only time it might be a little crazy. But if nobody's around you, go ahead and talk. Let out those feelings. Because that's why a lot of people go to therapy. A lot of people go to therapy because they want to let out something. They feel like, I can't tell my family this. I can't tell my friends this. Or I try to tell my family this. I try to tell my friends this. And the reaction that I got back was, and that's one thing we need to stop doing. When people come to us and telling us stuff and trying to get stuff off our chest, we need to stop being so judgmental. Just listen. That's why we got 2 ears and 1 mouth. Listen more. Say less. But If you by yourself and nobody's around, go ahead and let it out. Talk to yourself. Because in reality, you're not talking to yourself because God is right there. Now, the fifth lesson I learned is, and this, you guys might not believe it. You might not believe this one, but sometimes we're wrong. Sometimes we are wrong. Now, Job 7:7 reads, "Remember that my life is like the wind. I shall not see happiness again." Job didn't think he would ever see happiness again. He said, "Oh, I don't know. This is too much to bear. All this wrong stuff, all this suffering I'm going through is happening to me. I'm never going to see happiness again." Now, it might seem like when we're suffering, it might seem like, oh, this is the end, Lord. Oh, Lord. Jesus, this is the end. I don't know what's happening. It might feel like it's the end, but only God knows what will happen. Now, in Job's case, if you know the story, Job was wrong. He would indeed see happiness again. Now, feelings are not facts. I'm going to say that again. Our feelings are not facts. All right? It's been plenty of times when you felt some type of way. Come to find out it wasn't a fact. Feelings are not facts. You may feel hopeless, but that don't mean that it's true. You might feel like you stuck at the bottom of the pit and you never will climb out. You can't get out, but it's not true. You might feel like, oh, this is the end. I don't know how I'm gonna make it. I don't know how I'm gonna pay my bills. I'm gonna get evicted. Oh man, the repo man gonna be outside with the tow truck taking my car. I don't know how I'm gonna get out of this situation. Oh, I done got a PPP loan and I ain't put it towards my business and now I'm worse than I was before I got the bill. What am I gonna do? It's always a way out of everything. But you gotta change your thought process. You gotta change the way you think. You gotta grind. You gotta grit. You gotta get out the mud. We can't just. I say this all the time. I said another Sunday segment. You can't just pray for God and say, wake up in the morning, God, I want a job. You go sit on the couch and you just flipping through the TV all day, or you on your phone strolling through social media all day. How you gonna get a job? You ain't filled out no applications. How you gonna get a job if you ain't got no resume? You gotta work too. Sometimes we think God is punishing us and He ain't. We punishing ourselves. We gotta help ourselves for God to help us. We gotta at least open one door so He can open the next. He's not just gonna hold the door open for you all the time. You gotta open the door when you walk in your house. What you do, you open the door, right? And then next 9 times out of 10, you might got 2 doors. You open the next, right? You gotta open doors for yourself so God can continue to open doors. Now look at this. I just thought about this, just thinking about how my house set up. So you walk in your house, you open the screen door, and then you open the next door. You done open 2 doors for yourself. But when you get inside of your house, 9 times out of 10, your bedroom door is already open, right? That's the door that God opened for you. That's what we got to do. We got to put our feet to the ground, our head held high, and we got to get out and grind and work. And we got to get what we asking God to give us so He can give us more. He can multiply it. You open them 2 doors, get into your house. When you get into your house, all the doors is open. That's how our life can be. But you got to believe that. You can't just sit around on your butt just waiting on anything. When you feel like you hopeless, it's probably not true. It's not true. Now, I'm a super busy man, right? And I know this is short, but short and sweet. So I'm a super busy man, and I got a lot of things going on, right? So I used to do my podcast, my Sunday segments every week, right? I can't do it every week, but something was telling me that I had to do my Sunday segments again. And a lot of my Sunday segments and a lot of our Money Tree Music Group podcasts, particularly not on YouTube, but on the Spotify and Apple and Deezer and Republic and all those podcast stations that we had our podcast on. They got taken down because we was playing music that was not licensed to us, right? So, not my YouTube viewers, but my podcast listeners, I will only be playing my music and underground music on our podcast from now on. All right. Now, I can't do the Sunday segment every week, but what I can do is do it every month. All right. Now, a couple people asked me, well, what's going on with the Sunday segments? And the Spirit had already came across me and said, you need to do your Sunday segments again. Now, I don't get many views on these. You can look, you on YouTube, you can look at the views, but at the end of the day, if I just touch one person, those few people that ask me, hey, what's going on with the Sunday segment? Those are the people that I'm talking to. And whoever just so happened to run across uh, this channel or this podcast and they're listening to it, these are the people that I'm talking to. So I really much don't care about the views. I care about the message. And I'm going to continue to put out the message when I can. Right? So long as I just touch one person, my job is complete. Long as I touch one Lord, my job is complete. Now, I'm going to release a Sunday segment every third Sunday of the month. All right? So, this is the third Sunday of February. So, the part 2 of a change is going to come when I give you guys 6 through 10 of the lessons I learned from the book of Job will be on March 17th. All right? So, like I always end my podcast, I always end my Sunday segments. I'm sorry. Always remember the words that I speak today and all the days of your life. For these is not Rudy. These words come from the book, the Bible, our life God, all right? May God bless you and may God keep you. And remember to love one another because love truly does makes the difference. I'll see y'all next month. A change is going to come. Put on that Sam Cooke song. I'm about to listen to it right now. God bless you.